I mean, at first blush, it looks like a pretty solid report. There's job creation, but that stubborn labor force participation down a tick once again. What do you make of all of it?
Yeah, overall, Lori, definitely a good report. Great to see strong job creation, and certainly the revisions are very helpful. But my concern would be the labor participation rate. We're seeing that less people are actually participating in the workforce.
As usual, we are faced with new numbers on the American economy that gives us both hope for the future and ensure there will still be plenty of discussion over what is still not getting done. Job growth here in America didn't do bad in September. But those actually in the labor force, there's the numbers we need to discuss. Here to make sense of it all, let us welcome to Midpoint Senior Fellow and Director at the Manhattan Institute's Economics 21, Diana Furchtgott-Roth joins us today. Diana, pleasure to have you back on the show.
It's great to be with you.
Here we go. I'm going to read 3 headlines here. All sound really great. U.S. job growth rebounds in September. Jobs reports beats expectations. U.S. hiring accelerates. Always nice to get the good stuff out of the way, but this doesn't tell the whole story, does it?
No, the whole story is that the percentage of Americans who are working or looking for work has declined to another Carter-era low, to 62.7% from 62.8, and the month before it was 62.9. And it's very troubling that as the economy strengthens, people are not moving back into the labor force. Instead, they're withdrawing from the labor force, and that's going to cause problems for economic growth ahead. We seem to be stuck at 2% economic growth, which just isn't enough to generate the jobs that Americans need.
When we look at the jobs here, and please make some sense of this for all of us here, non-farm payrolls grew more than expected in September. Okay, that's non-farm. It seems almost as if the Americans who are looking for jobs, they're not going for the getting your hands dirty kind of jobs. They're going more for, I guess, for the retail jobs, the ones that are in the stores, and maybe that'll pick up come the holiday season. But is that a good way to look at it?
Well, it's always the service sector and education and health services. Those are the growing sectors. And manufacturing grew some too. But what we need is broad-based growth all across the spectrum. And most importantly, we need to stop doing things that discourage businesses from creating jobs right here, such as why do we have the highest corporate tax rate in the industrialized world? Why do we tax companies on their worldwide income instead of just what they earn in the United States, as other countries do? That means they can't bring back their trillions of dollars of earnings to create more jobs and start new businesses here.
In your opinion, then, is that the single biggest thing that we should focus on every time one of these comes out, and that is the tax rate itself? This has been bounced around now for decades here, but is that the thing that if that was changed, everything would open up in your opinion?
I think it's a combination of taxes and regulation, and it's not difficult to fix both of those. Congress, that's Republicans and Democrats, and the president, they all agree the corporate tax rate is too high and out of line with those of other countries. So the question is, why can't they politically get together and fix it, or even eliminate it altogether? Because corporate tax revenue just accounts for 10% of total revenue, and it would be relatively easy to raise the taxes on dividends and capital gains, which have a lower tax rate now because they are already taxed at the corporate level, to make up that revenue. We also need to remember regulations which are impeding companies from creating jobs or from exporting liquid natural gas or from increasing energy exploration, one of the drivers of our economic growth.
So much going on here, and still every time we see one of these reports, it's very nice to have the wonderful news up top, but then folks like you, we sit and talk, we all of a sudden learn what's going on underneath, and that really shows us that we still have such a tremendously long way to go. Diana, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks so much for a couple of minutes. I look forward to seeing you again.
Great to be with you.
Take care. Next hour on Midpoint, how serious is the charge that ISIS might soon be getting its grimy hands on nuclear weapons? After the break, the international community delivers their take on the Ebola crisis here in America, what Americans are doing, how it is being fought, and how the administration itself starts to look at what they need to do next to control this crisis. It's all coming up right here on Midpoint.